The last chapter in our statistics OER course is Unit 11 for linear regression. And in the introductory statistics by OpenStax, this is chapter 12, and it's titled Linear Regression and Correlation, an Introduction. And in the Lumen Introductory Statistics Corequisite book, this is module 12 as well, linear regression and correlation. Linear regression for two variables is based on a linear equation with one independent variable and one dependent variable. The equation is of the form y hat equals ax plus b. Hat indicates an estimated sample value, an estimated value in terms of the line, and a and b will be constants. The variable x is called independent variable and the y is called a dependent or a response variable. Typically we choose a value to substitute for the independent variable and then we solve for the dependent variable. The graph of a linear equation y equals ax plus b is a straight line. And when x is equal to 0, the y is equal to b. So it goes through the point 0, b for x equals 0 and y is equal to b. Any line that is not vertical can be described by this equation, which is called the slope-intercept form of a line. So when we have the line y equals -1 plus 2x, we can write it as 2x plus -1. And that is a linear equation because it is of the form y equals ax plus b. And a will be the number 2 and b will be the number -1, and therefore we can graph it. So to graph a straight line we need 2 points, and that means that we will put 2 values in x and we will find the y and then we will connect those points. And the easiest value to select for x is 0, which will give us a y of -1. And that, say, point is right here at on the y-axis at coordinate -1. And then let's plug in another value for x. Let's say x is equal to 1. And the y will be 2 times 1 minus 1, which will be +1. And that will be our other point at +1, and then we will connect those 2 points, and here is our line. Aaron's word processing service does word processing. The rate for services is $32 per hour plus $31.50 one-time charge. The total cost to a customer depends on the number of hours it takes to complete the job. Find the equation that expresses the total cost in terms of the number of hours required to complete the job. So the cost is the y coordinate. We can call it y. We can also call it c if we want for the cost. And it will be $32 per hour. So $32 times the number of hours. We can call them x or we can call them h for hours, plus a fixed cost of $31.50. The units for y, for the cost, will be in dollars, and the units for x are in hours. What are the values of b for this equation? A and b. A is the coefficient of x, is equal to 32, and the b is the constant, that is $31.50. And they also have units when we are talking for an application in context. So the A has units dollars per hour, so it is $32 per hour, and the B has also units, and the units for B are dollars. So the equation y equals ax plus b is called the slope-intercept form. It has a slope of a and a y-intercept at 0, b. Remember that 0, b is a point on the y-axis, and that's why it's called the y-intercept. The slope is, by definition, the difference the change in y over the change in x. The notation here is the uppercase delta for difference. It's the Greek uppercase delta for difference. And difference in y is the difference y2 minus y1 between the y's of 2 points divided by the corresponding difference x2 minus x1 of their x coordinates. This is called the slope, and basically tells us how the y changes for every unit of the change in x. If a is positive, the line is ascending or increasing, which means as x increases, the y increases. X increases when we graph it from left to right, and therefore if we are moving from left to right, the y will increase, which means that it moves upwards. So your graph will be some line that from left to right moves upwards. If a is equal to 0, your slope is 0, the line is horizontal, and as x increases, the y remains constant. There is 0 difference in the y's. And that is a horizontal line when you graph it. From left to right, the y will not increase or decrease. If a is less than 0, the line is descending or decreasing, and that means that as x increases, the y decreases. So when you move from left to right, you will be going downwards when you graph your line. In word problems, you will interpret the slope and the y-intercept as follows. The slope will be the change in y for every unit increase in x, and the y-intercept will be the value of y when the x is equal to 0. Remember to replace the names for x and y and include units based on your actual scenario. So a scripted way to state the slope and the y-intercept will be to state the slope as y changes a units of y for each 1 unit of x increase in x, and you want to replace y with the name of the dependent variable, changes with either an increase or decrease, increases or decreases based on the sign of a, if a is positive or negative. A, you want the value of the slope, units of y, you want the units of y. For each 1 unit of x, you want the units of the independent variable here, increase in the name of the independent variable. And for the slope, y equals b units of y when x equals 0 units of x. And again, replace y and units of y with the name and the units of the dependent variable. Replace x and units of x with the name and the units of the independent variable. And then replace b with the value of the slope. So, for example, Svetlana tutors and charges a one-time fee of $25 plus $15 per hour for tutoring. The equation will be that the cost, or the y, will equal $25 startup fee plus $15 per hour, so 15 times x, x being the units of x. The dependent variable is the cost of tutoring, and the units are dollars. The independent variable is the hours of tutoring. I should say tutoring time. And the units are hours. So if I wanted to interpret the slope, I will put in the places of y, of changes, of a, the value of units of y, the values of y for each 1 unit of x, increase in x, and I would replace all of these places with the names and the units and the values of the constants and the variables. So the y is the cost of tutoring. The slope is 15, so it's positive. So here I will say increases $15 for each 1 hour is the unit of x increase in tutoring time. So my interpretation of the slope is the cost of tutoring increases $15 for every 1 hour increase in tutoring time. And for the y-intercept, I would replace here the name of y, and then I will say equals, and then I will replace the value of b, the units of y, when x, the name of the variable x, equals 0 units of x. So here I will replace again the names and the values per the scenario. The y is the cost of tutoring. The cost of tutoring equals the y-intercept is the value 25. The units of y are dollars. When x, tutoring time, equals 0 and the units are hours. So this thing will say that the cost of tutoring is $25 when we have had 0 tutoring time, 0 hours of tutoring time.